Welcome to Channel 44. It's a beautiful afternoon here at the Miracle Center Cathedral. I am Mercy Gashegu Sembatia to bring you this hour's news update. I will be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation. The Liberian government has requested authorities in the Arabian country of Oman to immediately halt issuing visas to Liberians seeking employment to the country for domestic employment. The request comes after a group of women already in the country posted graphic images of sex and other forms of mistreatment they said they were going through at the hands of their so-called masters. In a virtual meeting, Liberia's Labour Minister Charles Gibson differed with officials of Oman's Global Affairs Department who had described some of the reports by Liberians as unsubstantiated media claims. He said some of the women were being raped and others brutalized, which is very much unacceptable. An Omani government official has said the request to halt visas will insisted the Liberian government should not take everything in the media to be truth. Moving on to Ethiopia, Tigrayan forces in the embattled northern region have accused the government of conducting drone strikes in the regional capital, Mekele. The government has not yet responded to the accusations, but it had previously warned people to stay away from what it called military targets. According to the United Nations, air strikes conducted last week in Mekele killed civilians, including children. A senior Tigrayan figure said in a tweet that at least 3 bombs were dropped in the city and a hospital was among the targets in the latest strike. A resident told the press there were air strikes in the city, but they could not say what the targets were. An ongoing communications blackout has made it difficult to get detailed, reliable information. Meanwhile, fighting on the grounds has continued to intensify a week after the resumption of violence following a 5-month truce. The UN says the renewed clashes have been displacing thousands of people in border areas in Amhara and Afar, the neighboring regions where the fighting is concentrated. Moving on to the United States, the U.S. Space Agency says it will try to launch its new moon rocket this Saturday. An attempt at a liftoff on Monday had to be scrapped when one of the 4 engines on the vehicle would not cool down to its required operating temperature. After reviewing data, engineers believe they now understand why the issue occurred. They think it's likely related to an inaccurate sensor reading and that they can develop a strategy to deal with the problem on launch day. This involves starting the process of chilling the engines earlier in the countdown. Saturday's launch will be timed for 14:17 local time at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Controllers will be given 2 hours to get the rocket off Earth. Moving on to Asia, Taiwan has fired warning shots for the first time to drive back drones that flew over its outlying islands near China. Taiwan's defense ministry said the 3 drones were seen flying backwards towards the Chinese mainland. Taipei has in recent weeks complained of Chinese drones flying close to its islets near the Chinese mainland. Cross-strait tensions remain high after U.S. politician Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan earlier this month. Taiwan has reported an increase in drone incursions after China launched huge military drills in a show of force after Ms. Pelosi's visit. President Tsai Ing-wen has labeled some of the drone missions which have flown over military outposts as a type of grey zone warfare activity. The Kinmen Defense Command said 3 civilian drones were spotted last evening in Dadan, Erdana and Shiyu, 3 Kinmen islets that are just a few kilometers away from the China, taken to obstruct the government's investigation. The filing is in response to Mr. Trump's lawsuit for a neutral lawyer known as a special master to oversee part of the ongoing case. Mr. Trump has denied any wrongdoing and said the items were declassified. In the filing released on yesterday, the Justice Department Counterintelligence Chief Jay Bratt gives the clearest picture so far of the department's attempts to retrieve documents from the former president. Those attempts led to a National Archives team visiting his Mar-a-Lago home in January, an FBI team visiting in June, and the FBI searching the mansion on the 8th of August. And in Europe, Russia has completely halted gas supplies to Europe via a major pipeline, saying repairs are needed. The Russian state-owned energy giant Gazprom said the restrictions on the Nord Stream 1 pipeline would last for the next 3 days. Russia has already significantly reduced gas exports via the pipeline. It also rejects accusations of using energy supplies as a way to punish Western nations for imposing sanctions over the invasion of Ukraine. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline stretches 1,200 kilometers, which is 745 miles under the Baltic Sea from the Russian coast near St. Petersburg to northeastern Germany. It opened in 2011 and can send a maximum of 170 cubic meters of gas per day from Russia to Germany. The pipeline was shut down for 10 days in July, again for repairs, according to Russia, and has recently been operating at just 20% capacity because of what Russia describes as faulty equipment. European leaders fear Russia could extend the outage in an attempt to drive up gas prices, which have already risen by 400%. Well, that brings us to the end of this hour's news update. Thank you for watching Channel 44. I remind you of the Karamoja Cry, where we are sending food aid to the people of Karamoja. These are our own. These are not in a neighboring country. They are Ugandans, and they are dying of hunger. Records last month in the press recorded over 1,000 people having died of hunger in Karamoja. Well, it's in this regard that Pastor Robert Kayanja is calling upon all of us to join him as we send relief to the people of Karamoja. We have so far sent over 70,000 metric tons of food, but the need is still great. We are delivering 50 kilograms of food to every household in Karamoja. The 50 kilograms contain is a fortified meal that contains millet flour, rice flour, maize flour, milk, oats, carrots, pumpkin seeds, and many other ingredients that will help revamp the people of Karamoja back on their feet so that they can be able to sustain themselves once again. You can send your seed or your contribution to the numbers that will be available during the subsequent services that will be airing here on Channel 44. Or today being a Wednesday, you can come for the midweek service and deliver your seed or your contribution to the pastor himself. He will pray a blessing upon you and you will be tremendously blessed. Also, I remind you that today is Wednesday. It's the midweek service here at the Miracle Center Cathedral. Come and join us and let us worship God. Let us have fun in the presence of God and bring the sick, the lame, and all those that need the deliverance and healing from God. They will not remain the same again. I remain Mercy Gashegu Sembata. Pastor Jessica Kayanja is coming on with an awesome panel that will continue to enlighten us on issues concerning marriage. God bless you. Good afternoon.